Today brings a video of the third chapter of the game using the iron centaurs. The basic characteristics of centaurs are that they have low skill damage, but have a special extra damage boosting exclusive stab buff, and a high probability of lowering the opponent's damage when defending. Against Battle Bear, I used the burst buff, which randomly increases damage by 1 to 3 points each, and the skill triggered back thrust for 5 points of damage, which dealt 6 points of damage even though the monster was using defense skills. The monster's turn to attack, his damage up to 9 points, because the skill can be defended. This time the important characteristics of the centaur's defense skills are reflected. Centaurs in the defense, if you throw any number from 1 to 3, you can choose to cause counter injury to the attacker or to reduce the imminent damage of half. In the encounter with monsters with high levels of damage, reduce the damage by half can often play a role in the reversal of the battlefield effect. It's our turn to attack again. This time, the result on the dice shows that we can use the Fatal Duel skill. This skill requires an additional point judgment. As long as our points are not lower than those of the enemy, we can cause damage up to the skill's upper limit. Although it's a pity that we didn't directly eliminate the monster, it's just a matter of one more attack. Diverse cards can sometimes provide us with unexpected help, but the prerequisite is that you have enough blue energy. For example, when dealing with the monster's attack that can be defended this time, we use the Shield Block card, which can directly reduce the damage by 5 points. It's extremely cost-effective. In the second battle, we encountered the harpy that could take the initiative in the attack. Although we would be attacked first, as long as we have proper defenses in place, the losses won't be significant. In this round, we originally intended to take a chance and roll for the ultimate skill, but unfortunately, our luck wasn't on our side. So we could only use the Ice Spear skill. Although this skill can't directly deal damage, it enables us to obtain an evasion buff, and at the same time, it inflicts the punishment and suffocation buffs on the enemy. The beneficial effects are still quite considerable. The monster's attack is just a scratch. Let's see if we can take advantage of the effect of the punishment buff in this round and eliminate the monster in one go. We were really lucky. After using 2 thrust buffs, we unexpectedly increased the damage by up to 6 points. This is more than enough for the monster that only has 6 hit points left. And once we roll out the Blood Spear skill, we should use it immediately, because this skill will additionally grant the hero 2 more evasion buffs. The enemy we will face next is the Foul Rat. This is a somewhat troublesome monster. When defending, there is a probability that it can withstand half of the hero's damage. And when attacking, it may impose the corrosion or weakness buff on the hero. Sure enough, in the face of our first attack, he activated the effect of having the damage. Next, during his attack turn, although we used the evasion buff and successfully avoided taking damage, negative buffs cannot be evaded with the evasion buff. So, we were imposed with the weakness buff. Each weakness buff reduces your attack damage by 1 point. Therefore, we used the card named Conservation to pass this buff back to the Foul Rat, and it can be said that it reaped what it had sown. When your own attack turn ends, if you have more than 6 cards in your hand, the excess cards must be discarded. So, it's necessary to use the cards promptly and reasonably during the battle. Eventually, you will get 1 CP for each discarded card. As expected, it lives up to its reputation. Although the second attack of the foul rat has reduced damage, it has imposed the corrosion buff on me again. For those who have this buff, if they still have positive buffs at the start of their turn, they will lose 1 point of health. Therefore, if we have a card that can remove negative buffs in our hands, we should get rid of this buff as early as possible. After perfectly demonstrating all of its characteristics, the foul rat made a glorious exit. This time, the board event requires manual operation. You need to select half of your hand cards to discard when you enter the next battle. Then the system will give you 2 new cards again. While the monster this time is Jack-o'-lantern, and it's an enemy that can really give people a hard time. Because there's a high probability that it's immune to defendable damage. Moreover, when it attacks, it may apply a silence buff to the hero, preventing the hero from using the straight, both small and large, skills during an offensive round. Sure enough, Jack rolled a 6 during the defense phase, perfectly evading all the damage I dealt this time. And Jack's attack is not only undefendable, but it also imposed a silence buff on us. If you have a card that can remove the negative buff clearly in your hand, it is best to use it to remove the silence buff as soon as possible. Otherwise, our skill that activates when the dice rolls show a straight sequence cannot be used. This time, we will use the trample skill. Although this skill doesn't deal high damage, it can impose the choking buff on the enemy. As a result, the enemy must consume 2 energy points to obtain the qualification for an attack before the start of their turn. If the enemy's energy is less than 2 points, they won't be able to attack in this round. Oh my goodness! The success probability of the evasion buff is as high as 50%, yet I used it 3 consecutive times and failed each time. My luck is truly abysmal. This time, we can't remove the silence buff. Therefore, as we can see, we are unable to use the 2 skills, Fatal Duel and Blood Spear, in this round. This will greatly limit our choices of attack skills. To my surprise, I rolled 4 6s in 3 throws. In this way, I could immediately use the card named Hand of God in my hand to change the value of the remaining die to 6. The ultimate skill, Death Trample, directly brought me the victory. See you next time.